I wanted to fist bump Crispin, but I had my hands full. I brought a stool up. Oh, that is echoey. For that reason, I wanted to put my water on it, you know. I'm a comedian. I need a stool, you know. Like, you guys did well with Haley's like dog eating ass thing, you know. I've seen that go wrong, you know, like surprisingly. But no, give it up for Haley one more time. My name is Katz, but that is a stage name, you know. I'll give you guys that little secret. My real last name is Jason Dogs, you know. It's Palestinian. Never gets a laugh, but I like it and I'm keeping it, you know, because like we got to keep talking about it, you know. I am Jewish, technically, genetically. Not a fan of what we're doing right now. Yeah, you know, honestly, I used to think Zionism was like a musical instrument. Turns out it was just an instrument for destruction. And everyone involved wants to be the first chair Zionist. Violin. It sounds like something that like an Asian mother would make her child practice every single day. You know, you got the bass, cello, violin. Are you guys band kids? Is that what it is like? Not really. Oh, you raised your hand. Well, what do you play? Violin. Okay. It just wasn't funny that you guys. I'll make that work one day at the orchestra. Mother's Day happened and I got my mom a book, and the book is called Growing Up with Emotionally Immature Parents. She did not like it. I didn't like the fact that I needed to read it, you know? So it's kind of a lose-lose situation, but I already have my Father's Day gift picked out. Yes, it's another copy of the book because they need to read it. You know, it's funny. It's so funny. I was texting my mom about it, and she's like, "What is that supposed to mean?" And I was like, "I'm just recommending a book." And then she sent me a book on why capitalism is great, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And she was like, "I'm just recommending a book in text." It was a text conversation. Or quotes. It was a text conversation. Anyways, that's my relationship with my mother. It's not going well. I kind of understand now why, when I was a kid, I was just like, wouldn't you want to love your parents? And all the adults are like, well, I do, but just, you know, I can only take so much time with them. I didn't get that. I get that now. Like, it's very, you gotta be, that's your mom, isn't it? Like, you know? Did I just do something bad? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be a dick. I'm sure you two guys have a great relationship. You never said it was your mom, so, all right, this is awkward. This is a good time for me to check my set list. I think there should be an Uber horse. I haven't really decided if that's going to be like the more expensive option or the cheaper option. Maybe it could be, you could have like a Uber, what's the one where you share with people? You know, like getting into a car with strangers, right? Like, that's already weird. But getting into a car with more strangers, that's the bang bus, you know? Bang bus, come on guys, come on. That's a staple. That's a staple in this country. All right, that joke usually does better in Miami where it was filmed. Since the dawn of time, there has only been, like, the first problem we ever had as bipedals were slow walkers, and we haven't solved it. We haven't fucking solved it at all. Like, since the fish evolved, like, there was a mutant fish with legs, and then there was a second one, and he was like, I'm taking my time. And they're like, will you fucking come on, dude? Like, we gotta go. And, like, you know, as soon as, the second problem is when early humans built shelter, right? Because the first guy that built a house made everybody else technically homeless. We haven't solved that problem yet. But, like, you know the guy that built, I don't want to be like, it could have been a woman, I don't know. But, like, the person that built the first shelter had a liberal-ass kid that was just like, they're technically called uncaved people, you know? Get it? Okay. That does wonders when I perform for the Flintstones. I like to think about like the first people, like how people discover shit, you know, like they're, you know, like I just talked about the first house. There's gotta be somebody out there that was like the first person to put an animal head on the wall, and that guy was a psycho. Like, you know, like they got like their own community kitchen. They're like, oh my god, guys, you remember the like bear we killed? The head's missing. And then like Jim walks in with like a bunch of blood on his. I guess he's not wearing a shirt yet, right? Like, but you know, he's covered in blood. And they're like, hey, what the fuck, Jim? And he's like, guys, I did something awesome. I made art. I took the head from the bear we killed. I cut it off and I drained the blood. That's why I'm covered in blood. And I put it up on the wall. And they're like, oh, cool, Jim. Hey, kids, don't hang around Jim. We're going to create democracy and vote on him. Like, he's going to get off this island, you know? Okay. That usually does better in the bear community, I'm not gonna lie. And I am talking about the gays. Going back to homeless people, I live in Capitol Hill, Seattle. It's one of Fox News' favorite neighborhoods to talk about. Sometimes they're right. Like, I mean, I don't agree with them on most shit, but like, there are homeless people. It's interesting because, like, okay. By round of applause, how many of you have given a homeless person food instead of money? Okay, usually in Seattle, people clap way. They're like, yes, I gave them a bare necessity instead of money for drugs, thank you. But like, honestly, like, I used to be kind of an addict. Like, if you gave me something I needed instead of money for drugs, I'd be so fucking mad, okay? Like, I'd be livid. I'd be like, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't even like the thing you gave me. Like, I don't have a can opener. Like, I used to ask my mom for grocery monies. Fuck, that came out wrong. I used to ask my mother for grocery money, and it technically went to a guy in a grocery store parking lot selling me drugs. And like, you know, this was the kind of drug dealer that would send me coordinates. Not locations. He would send me coordinates through the Signal app. That's an even more encrypted app than WhatsApp. Okay, you guys need to do more drugs deals, you know? Like, but basically, my mom caught wind of it. She was like, why don't I take you to the grocery store and we can go shopping together and I can buy you the groceries. I'm like, you're fucking my shit up, all right? Like, that is not what's gonna happen here. I have to buy MDMA. Now I'm my dentist and I got a lot of jaw problems. Because you grind your teeth. Okay, do more drugs, guys. No, but like, I saw a homeless guy wearing a security jacket. In Seattle, they hire a lot of security people to like get them to like go away. They're just like, go over there. But like when they do it to that guy, he can be like, no, I'm one of you guys, I'm undercover. Like, I got this area secure. The ones you want are over there. I also see a lot of homeless dogs, which I don't want to be a dick. Kind of selfish from the homeless people's standpoint, you know? The dog didn't ask to be poor. The dog doesn't know anything about socioeconomics. The dog didn't like, you know, he didn't not pay rent. The dog just thinks it's cold outside, and I love him. Anyways, sometimes I like to go up to that person and be like, hey, can I take your only source of happiness away from you and give it to a probably white home or a kill shelter? I don't know. It's not my fault. My apartment just doesn't allow pets. It's in the lease, you know? Like, I would have given it a nice home, but I think it's either dead or with like a really nice white family. All right. The white part always loses people. When I say family, it usually does better. Okay. We're moving on. A lot of people in Seattle like to say, give native land back. That would be another one of white man's tricks. They don't want it back, and I'll tell you why. They wanted it back when you could grow shit on it, right? They wanted it back when it was habitable. Now the soil's too acidic, right? Like if we gave them land back, they'd be like, what did you guys do to the water? There's toxic waste in this. And they'd be like, you wanted your land back, you know? Like, did you guys know that the Tulalip and the, whatever the north one is, they like lobbied to make sure that the Seattle tribe couldn't get any land back as a reservation because they wanted people to drive out to the casinos? That's true. That's politics, that's local politics in action, all right? You guys don't look like voters, okay? I'm just kidding. I don't think I've ever voted correctly. I voted, I just don't know who I'm picking. They need like more than a little fucking bio. Like, I need to see, first I need to see them, right? Like, you ever see a candidate and it's just like, no picture. Not your year, man. But like maybe that person just can't pay the fee to get their picture in the ballot, which I don't do any research, which is my right as an American, but like it probably has a fee for the ballot photo thing. Okay, that was off the top. But I like it, I'm gonna keep it. We really should have seen the Epstein thing on the writing's been on the wall for thousands of years, okay? There's still some states where you can marry children. But I want to talk to you guys about this person named Sacagawea. You guys know Sacagawea? Yeah. I did this once, and this lady was just not laughing. I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, it's Sacagawea. I'm like, how do you Sacag on these nuts? Because like, that's literally like, and she was white. Of course she was white. Like, you know, like, but anyway, Sacagawea was the best tracker in the village, and Lewis and Clark took her. You know why she was the best tracker in the village? Because she was a child. And like all the other people that definitely taught her tracking skills were just like, what about us? We literally taught, why does she get, and Lewis and Clark were like, no, it has to be her. Like, and then Meriwether Lewis killed himself for reasons, or probably because his name was Meriwether. I don't know. That never really gets a laugh, so I appreciate you laughing at the Meriwether thing. Because he did. All right, where are we? I thought Freud was Australian. He's Austrian, like Hitler. But for the longest time, I thought he was just like, oh, I think this blood wants to fuck his mother. Like, you know, like, no, Hitler. All right, guys will never admit this, but when we shave, the last thing we do is we shave our mustache, and then we shave ourselves a Hitler. You looked at him, you looked at him. Never. Really, every time I get this, I get so much pushback from men. Am I the only one doing this? Like, the problem with, I would rock it. The problem is like my mustache like grows two ways, right? It grows up. I don't have a good center mustache. Anyways, the cat, no, it's a beautiful mustache. I'm sure you're very happy with it. He definitely isn't a male manipulator by any means. No, I'm just kidding. That's just some internet meme. They say that about, never mind. The cat Hitler stash in tuxedos. You'd think that would be, I know, right? You would think that would be the recessive gene, but it's actually the dominant gene, just like how Hitler thought, like, we were the dominant species, or race, like, I don't, and it's also so gay of Hitler. He's so in the closet. He literally is just like, this is the perfect person. It's a blonde hair, 6 foot tall, blue-eyed hunk. And a blonde chick, or whatever. Like, but he was obviously gay, because what's funny about that is that Hitler's not describing himself. Hitler's like 5'8", he's balding. At least I think he was, he had a comb over, okay. Usually you lose people on the Hitler stuff. I don't know why. As a Jew, I think I have a genetic defense mechanism to look for swastikas in modern design. Guys, have you seen Chase Bank? It's a fucking swastika! And I don't know if you guys work, but there's this thing called Slack. Next time you go on Slack, it's like a group chat, it's a swastika. Do not get me started on the Northwest Kidney Foundation, because they didn't even try to hide it. Like, it's just straight up it. You better not need a kidney if you're like a person of color, because they're gonna be like, we have a final... Alright, I don't have a punchline for that. That's kind of new. Okay, I got the light, I have a minute left. I didn't talk about the bees being faggots, which is kind of my closer, but I'll give you a little, summary. Bees are faggots because, they're furry and they buzz around and stuff like that. Like, their genetic is literally, yes, queen. When a bee stings you, they're literally dying for their queen. The same thing that gay people would do if Beyonce told them to do that. Like, they'd just be like, I'm gonna die for you, queen, mother. Like, anyways, how do I typo on this? Hornets are like straight dudes who are just so in the closet. And they're just like, did you just fucking call me gay, bro? I don't really fuck pussy, bro. Like, anyways, If I seem nervous right now, I promise you I can look a lot more nervous looking. I'm a backsweater, and when I'm in a crowd of people do this thing where they like sidestep behind me, and they like put their hand around my back, but I know when they put their hand around my back, it's like a new memory for them, so. Alright, my name is Jason Katz. Have a good rest of your night.